This is The Wheel Weaves Watches, a spoiler-free breakdown podcast of The Wheel of Time on Amazon Prime. I'm your host, Dani, and I'm joined by my co-host, Brett, and we're here to bring you an in-depth look into the Wheel of Time show. We'll share reactions, episode breakdowns, and relevant background information without spoiling future content from the book series. So grab a drink and let's get watching. We'd like to thank and acknowledge our executive producers, Brandy and Kirkwood, Sean McGuire, Yanis, Albert Lorenzo, LightBlindedFool, Green Man, Deyvis, Ferreira, Margaret, Big C, Bennett, Williamson, Dylan C, Hannah Green, and Jamie Milligan. In this episode, we're talking about episode 7 of season 1.
Yeah, episode 7 is The Dark Along the Ways.
Which makes sense.
Holy moly.
There's a lot of dark along the ways.
It's an episode of reveals. Oh my goodness,
yeah,
I love this one so much.
I think this one might be my favorite one.
You know what? It's like second favorite for me. It's so good.
Yeah.
So much is revealed.
It's so good.
So much information. And I gotta say,
number 1 best cold open.
the freaking best.
Yeah.
Holy moly, do we got a lot to talk about this.
Mm-hmm. We do. Can we just jump in? Can I talk about the actress in this cold open?
Yeah, let's do it.
Because I have a bit of story time.
Yeah, do it.
About this actress.
Do it.
So her name is Magdalena Stiova, and I probably am butchering that.
Yeah.
Because she is a stunt actor that the Wheel of Time team met in Prague when they were filming.
Yeah. Yep.
So she typically does not get actual acting starring roles. She has been a stunt actor in Dune, Carnival Row, 12 Monkeys, and Underworld Blood Wars. And when she was introduced to the team and showrunner Rafe Judkins, he asked her to portray this character in the show named Tigraine Mantir. Now, her filming took place over 5 days, including an additional day of rehearsal with the Bolt camera, which I would recommend to everybody to stop what you're doing and as soon as you can, watch the behind the scenes of this cold open. It is on Amazon Prime's YouTube. You can type in episode 7 and this will come up, like Wheel of Time episode 7, and the behind the scenes for this scene is so intense because the director wanted this crazy camera that moves at like lightning speed.
Yeah, they had to like specifically get this piece of camera equipment for this scene because they wanted to shoot it in a certain way.
Right, which apparently is not used on TV shows, and usually it's exclusively for movies, so they had to get special permission in order to use it.
Yeah, and boy did it pay off. Like, holy moly, this is such a good piece of action sequence. Like, it's incredible.
It is so good. So, according to Sitova, she filmed her scene for the Wheel of Time with an injured, swollen knee and nearly lost her voice during filming from all the screaming. But despite this, she said that it was one of the happiest moments of her life. And that is from the Wheel of Time wiki. So
I love it. I love it. Okay.
Just gotta give credit where credit is due.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the best. This is the best cold open scene I think I've ever seen in any show ever, ever, ever.
Okay, so break it down.
Okay, so yeah, we get introduced to an ideal woman, and she's running through the snow, and there's a whole lot of dead bodies and burning wagons. It's pretty clear there's like a war going on here.
Yep.
She's bloodied, she's in pain because she's going into labor, like right friggin' now.
Mm-hmm, yep.
Yeah, and then she finds what she thinks is a safe spot, and then the most badass, awesome fight sequence happens, and she kills everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, man. You know what I gotta say, too? Because I really love this action sequence because sometimes when you get the woman warrior, you get like this weird trope in movies where they do super acrobat. Like, I think like Marvel movies are particularly guilty of this. It's like overly acrobatic to offset the whole like physical ability that people think that women might not have. And I think they just really portray her as crazy strong, awesome with the spears, and just kicking ass, stabbing people in the face, through the neck,
yep,
ripping people off to the side. Like, I love it so much.
Yeah, no, it's great. And we also get that at one point she does take a knife to the side.
Yeah.
But then don't worry, she kills the dude.
Yeah, that's like the last guy, and it's one of those labor pains that throws her off her game a little bit.
I know.
And then she gets stabbed.
Well, it's so funny because I remember watching this for the first time, and then we did our reaction.
Yeah.
Immediately after, and I was like, oh man,
no
no way, no way, when I was in labor could I also be fighting off like 5 different men.
Well, and I mean, everybody goes through different aspects of labor, like it's different for everybody.
Yeah, I was incredibly useless.
Yeah.
Incredibly useless. I probably would just die.
I don't want to say that I can vouch
for
that,
you
but
100% can. Yeah.
I was there.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. So I guess we're just giving the benefit of the doubt to this warrior woman.
Well, here's the
raised
question.
in this warrior society.
You've admitted that you couldn't do that during labor.
Yeah.
Would you be able to kill a bunch of people just like regular style when you're not?
You're so rude. Why call me out like that?
Well, I'm not saying I could, because I would immediately die. The first guy would just like right through the head. You get me.
Yeah. I'm the guy who gets the spear in the face.
Exactly.
That's
like
me
right
all the
away.
time.
You want to know who I would play in the Wheel of Time? No, it's the guy from the first episode who gets the axe through his chest.
Oh, yeah.
Like right away dead. So
No. You're like, you're villager, like, because that guy had a name.
Yeah.
You're like villager
I'm
number
unnamed.
3, just like in the background.
I
who
don't
just
even get a
died.
name.
Yeah, no.
Be the guy getting eaten on the ground.
Yeah.
Shoot. Okay.
Okay, but now we're gonna get to the really serious part because she's literally in active labor about to give birth.
Yeah, I do appreciate, because with her facial expressions too, you can really see it go through her head. Like, she gets a moment of clarity, like, the last thing I'm gonna do before I die, I need to deliver this child.
Yeah.
So she rips the cape off and she's like, I'm doing it right here.
Yeah.
And then we get the end sequence with the soldier holding a very particular heron-marked sword.
Yeah, which, we're going to come back to. We're going to talk about it later in this episode.
It's so good.
But it's almost like she's like, oh no, this is it. I'm going to die now before I give birth. And this guy, soldier guy, shows up and points his blade at her.
Yeah, and that's where we end.
Yeah, and we get our title sequence, which I think is the same.
Yeah, I don't think there's any differences yet.
Mm-hmm.
But let's get into the dark
I
the
bet
ways.
Barney Harris's name is gone. I didn't look for it.
Yeah, we got to talk about that too.
But I bet it's gone.
We got to talk about that.
Okay, so let's jump into our episode because our crew is in the ways and Matt didn't come along and everyone's freaking out. They're like, oh no, open it back up. Matt's not here yet.
Yeah, and there's some blame being pointed, like, oh, Moraine, you did this. And she's like, I didn't do that. Clearly it's his fault.
Yeah.
And in reality, it's not necessarily Matt the character's fault. It's more so Matt the actor's fault.
Yeah.
Because there had to be a bunch of rewrites and everything. We kind of alluded to this earlier.
I know.
But the actor for Matt didn't show back up for filming.
Okay, he didn't return.
Yeah.
And whether or not he was asked not to return or he chose not to return,
we don't know.
We don't know the circumstance.
Years later, we still have no clarity on this.
Here's what I do know. During COVID, I was on a lot of social media, and so was Barney Harris.
Yes.
Barney Harris, the actor, was on social media quite a bit.
The Matt actor,
The guy who plays Matt. And at one point, he even jumped into a fan of the Wheel of Time who's talking about the Wheel of Time. He jumped into their live on Instagram or something and was talking to fans and stuff. And so there's speculation about whether or not like what's going on, because as soon as they started filming again, he was off social media, never to be heard from again.
Yeah, he basically disappeared. He's off the grid.
He's gone.
Gone.
Like, I don't know if anyone else has any other information. Like, I feel like I would know it by now because I'm a little bit of a sleuth. And I'm really curious about this because I really actually like Barney Harris as Matt. I thought he was a great actor. Yeah,
so basically for the TV show, he got written out of the last 2 episodes.
We just hope that he's, mentally healthy, physically healthy.
He's doing okay.
Everybody's good.
Yeah.
That's really all we hope for.
And honestly, for the TV show itself, it's kind of a nothing burger that he's not even here. Like, it actually doesn't really matter that much to the entire storyline.
To this plot line in particular,
it doesn't. It really doesn't actually matter
that much.
Except
that it pisses some book fans off.
Of course it does, but it doesn't. It didn't matter in the books if he was there or not. It doesn't matter here if he's, it doesn't matter.
I know that.
It doesn't matter.
Everybody knows that. It doesn't matter, though.
But not everybody matters, and not everyone knows, but it doesn't matter, and it's okay.
Okay.
I think they did an okay job covering it up, with Moraine being like, yo, gotta send a message.
And they're like,
get that later, too. Shoot.
There's a darkness within him, and maybe it's better this way.
And maybe it is better this way. I don't know. I guess
we don't know.
We'll have to see.
But here's the thing. This summer, we were camping in rural Saskatchewan.
Yes. Yep.
And a couple campsites over from us, there was a dude carrying a kayak with someone else who looked exactly like Barney Harris.
So this is the issue
and
with that.
Every time
I didn't see it.
Every time I saw
it.
him,
You
we
saw
walked
it.
by, going to the bathroom, whatever, at this campground, and I was like, man, that guy looks so much like Barney Harris. Could you imagine if this is where he disappeared to?
We were in the middle of nowhere. And you were like, hey, I'm pretty sure it's this. And I'm like, I didn't see him.
No, I didn't say I'm pretty sure it's him. I think that guy resembled him quite a bit.
Yeah, you were like, I'm positive it's Barney Harris. No. That's the story I'm going to stick to. Anyways, I didn't see him.
You know what? It makes me feel better to know that he's just like living his best camping life.
Maybe.
Like rural Saskatchewan,
no one's
Canada.
Gonna find him there. Yeah.
Nobody except for me. I should have talked to him. I should have been like, "Can I borrow some bungee cords? What do we need when we're camping? Stuff? Anything. I could have asked.
Yeah.
And by the way, Barney, just like.
Just start shouting shout Barney over and over again.
And that's my new.
Did he look?
That's my new canon. My new canon for life.
Yeah.
That's where he is now.
I love it. I love it. Okay, back to the TV show where Matt isn't here.
Oh yeah. Okay.
He's not here. He didn't come through the way gate.
Nope.
And Maureen's like, yeah, that's probably for the best.
Yep.
And then I love the fact that we get a big explanation from Loyal.
A Loyal monologue.
Yeah, about how the ways works.
Tradition.
Yes, he's the guy who has to explain to us. And I love the fact, too, that Rand, throughout this entire episode, is still trying to be like, Loyal, we get it. You don't have to keep talking about stuff.
We know, buddy.
Yeah.
We got it.
It's a good explanation.
It's fine.
Give me the short version.
Yeah, just like when he's like, you could fall to your death, or worse.
Yeah.
And then Nynaeve's like, what's worse than that? And he's like, oh, I can think of lots of things.
First of all, it's like Rand's like, no, man.
No, it's okay.
No. Please don't.
Okay, but what's really important that we learn here is that you cannot use the power in here, or you're going to draw the attention of Machin Shin.
Machin Shin.
Which we're going to be introduced to later.
We will. The Black Wind. But yeah, if you use the power, and that's why they can't open it up on this side, because then it's going to immediately attract the attention. So don't do it now. Presumably, they would have waited, ideally, till they were at the waygate they want it on the other side.
Yeah.
And then use the power and escape right away. Because it does seem like there's a couple of minutes there where you can channel and then you could escape.
Okay, so Loyal's also going to tell us about how there used to be fruit trees here, and it used to be bright and beautiful and lovely and wonderful, but now it's all corrupted by the power?
We don't actually know. We don't really get a full explanation of why it's corrupted.
Okay.
It's just that it is corrupted. But I mean, in this universe, we've got the corruption of the male half of the power.
We have that. So, we also have the corruption of Shadow Logoth, Shadow City.
We do, which seems to be a different kind of evil. Yeah.
Machin Shin.
Yeah, so maybe it's a little bit of combination there or something. We don't know, but it's not good.
No, bad in fact.
Yeah.
Because you can fall into the bottomless pit of the ways and fall forever.
Yes, yeah. Doesn't sound very good. So
no.
I would have to assume it's not forever also, because at some point you'd probably die, right? Of starvation or thirst or like your heart would just stop.
At this point in the books, you asked me which character I felt if they should go over the edge in the ways. Who, if I were to say, like, okay, I'm cool with dying right now, it was 100% Nynaeve.
Yeah, it was.
Book Nynaeve and I do not get along.
That's because you are Book Nynaeve.
It's because I am Book Nynaeve.
You
are. You know what? I'm Show Nynaeve also, and I'm down for it.
It works.
I like Show Nynaeve way better than I like Book Nynaeve. Show Nynaeve is great.
I mean,
her so much.
They're kind of the same person. They're not that different.
Except I don't have to be in her head sometimes.
Oh, that's the thing.
I don't like being in her head. It's annoying.
Okay, I can see that.
But I like her, like, little quips, and she's so strong and sassy.
She is, yeah.
I like her a lot.
We do get a little bit of, like, Nynaeve land banter in the ways, too. Mm-hmm. We get some progression in the relationship, as we'll see later on, too.
Right, and as somebody recently pointed out, Nynaeve and Lan had a full month of travel together that we didn't see.
They did. That's true.
So that probably established the relationship a little more.
Well, it's kind of like when you spend every single day with... I think of like game shows like Big Brother.
I was going to say Big Brother,
Those relationships form really fast. You're like, hey, it's only been a month or two.
Yeah, but they
it's
just spent 24 hours
every
a day.
Every day, all day. Yep. You see the good, the bad, the ugly. So, I mean, hey.
Yep. All right. But Lan reassures her that Matt will be safer not coming along. And then Perrin sees something up ahead when no one else does.
Yeah, it's super dark.
And later, Rand says, hey man, how did you see that? And he's like, I don't know. And I know. golden eyes.
Got to do something with the whole eyes
Wolf
changing.
Wolf vision.
Yeah. But
right?
here's the thing.
Can wolves see well
Can wolves
in the
see
dark?
in the dark? I don't know.
Maybe.
Probably like,
better than humans.
Most animals can see probably better than humans. I'd have to imagine.
I would assume. Yeah.
We can, and like general, and like me specifically.
Oh yeah, you have bad
everything.
eyesight.
Everyone can see better. So I'm gonna go with that. It's got to do something.
I've met people with worse eyesight than you. Even.
That's true. That's true.
You just don't wear the glasses you're supposed to wear.
They are trying to fix their situation.
There are so many people who could never get around even in their lives if they didn't wear their glasses they're supposed to.
That's true.
So
yep,
you're just on the cusp of having kind of bad vision.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
So relax.
Just irresponsible.
It's just not Perrin.
One
it's
day.
Not Perrin level. All right. Anyway, so what Perrin sees up ahead is a guiding stone.
Yeah, subtitles are good here. It's capital G and capital S, guiding stone.
Okay,
it's
and
a
it was put here by the Ogiers who made it.
Yeah, it's actually kind of funny too because on the Amazon app, it has little trivia information pieces of a bunch of different scenes. Like you can literally watch along and read the trivia stuff. And it says, the guiding stone is to help people find their way through the ways.
Yeah, we get it, man.
But there's like a whole lot. There's a whole lot of trivia bits. And some of it makes a lot of sense. Like it's very obvious stuff.
Yeah.
But it's there just in case.
Kind of like a marker, a map marker.
Yeah, exactly.
This way, that way.
If you haven't figured it out yet, this guiding stone guides people
the way they should go.
And it's on a stone.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. But the problem with this one is...
Ooh.
It's all marked up and scratched, like someone tried to destroy it.
Okay, so this scene in particular is super funny too, because it gives me really strong Lord of the Rings vibes. So
does it?
It does, and I'll tell you why. Because they pause, and they're like, oh no, something's weird here, and then Lan says, there's something following us, and he says it to Moraine very quietly.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to pause and take a break. So as soon as Lan says, there's something following us, that should be like an indicator, like, that's bad.
We should keep
moving.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, Loyal figure it out, but then, like, let's move. But then they immediately go to sleep.
Yeah, I know.
And in The Lord of the Rings, the exact same thing happens with Sam and Frodo when they're heading through, like, the really rocky area and they're kind of lost. They're like, oh, something's following us, and it's Gollum.
Okay.
And the scene changes, and immediately they go to sleep.
Yeah, it's bad news.
And you're like,
don't do that.
If I ever get something tipping me off, like someone's following me, my first intuition isn't just like, gonna go to sleep now.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's like in this spooky, terrible place.
Well,
no.
I don't think Lan goes to sleep. He keeps watch, doesn't he?
Not very well.
And he doesn't like spook the rest of them by being like, something's following it. Because if all of them knew.
Yeah,
because I don't think our regular characters know.
Yeah.
That something's following them.
I agree, because he only said it quietly to Moraine.
Right.
But it gave me the vibes.
That's funny.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's always that.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
Oh no, there's something dangerous behind.
Just like do better. It's like, don't go into the basement of the spooky haunted house.
I heard a weird noise in the basement. I'm gonna go check it
out.
It's like,
no, get out.
Not.
Just get out of the house.
We can list our house tomorrow.
Yeah.
We'll sell
Unless
it on eBay.
your house is also in a spooky haunted forest.
Right.
Don't go into the spooky haunted forest.
Why did you buy a house in the spooky haunted forest in the first place?
It's a cabin.
Yeah.
You've gone out to the cabin.
Yeah. No.
This is just every horror movie I've never seen.
Right.
I don't watch those.
Yeah. Okay, so anyways, they go to sleep. We got to take a rest because Loyal has to figure out what path we have to take.
Okay, and he's like, I hope you have patience. And Rand is like, if he's asking for patience, we're all gonna die.
Yeah, I love that too. It's like, oh no, this guy who takes forever.
So we get this really quick little Rand and Egwene relationship moment where they're sort of like hugging and cuddling.
It's like It's like they've gotten over the immediate anger of the situation.
Yeah, they're at least on decent terms right now. Perrin is watching this happen and seems disgruntled by it, and Nynaeve notices.
Yeah.
But I have to say, I could see this as he's sad that his wife is dead and he doesn't have someone to cuddle with.
Sure,
like,
I can
they're
see
not
that.
being very considerate of that fact.
I can see that, yeah.
You know?
But I mean, it's not up to them to...
No, and then later it's this, like, crazy reveal that I actually never saw coming.
Which is funny, because when we recorded our very first book,
we talked about
this
that
was a
last
question
time,
I
didn't we?
asked. Yeah.
Or one of the episodes we talked about it.
Yeah,
and I was like, no, brother-sister vibes between Perrin and Egwene.
But also not, because I can totally see where it's like the best friend and the girl, like that's a thing that happens in real life too.
Oh, for sure.
It's not like a totally out of left field impossibility.
That's me and you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I know, I get it. Makes for good relationships.
I guess so. Like, potentially.
Like, being actually great friends with the person you're married to really helps marriage.
It can.
That's like my number one tip, is actually be best friends with the person you're married to, because you want to hang out with them.
Hopefully. Ideally.
Right? That's the idea.
Start a podcast, put a book series.
Okay.
Things.
You know, it's really trying.
Yeah.
I wouldn't actually recommend
that's
it.
probably...
Don't do it. Do not actually do that. But anyway, so that's a thing that's happening. Now, while they sleep, Lan stays on watch, but in the distance, we hear whistling.
And we got to keep track of this, because I saw something episode.
I know you did.
That I've never seen before.
I know.
I saw it finally.
Yeah, I saw it. That wasn't the first time we saw it. The first time, maybe you don't remember seeing it last time.
And if I don't remember, then it's new to me. So
right.
That's the thing about that.
Right. Okay, so Egwene wakes up, and she wakes Rand, and then a Trolloc jumps out.
Holy moly. Yeah.
And then they're like, ah, and they put their hands up, and then it gets blasted off the bridge.
Yeah, with the power. Yeah. All this makes a lot more sense at the end of this episode, too.
Right.
Yeah.
Because at first, Egwene actually even assumes it's herself, and she apologizes for using the power by mistake. She does.
Which kind of makes sense, too, because, like, if you don't know what you can do, it's almost instinctual, because that's kind of how it seems that it works even for Nynaeve, where it's more like a feeling. She's not intentionally doing...
No, she has no idea what she's doing.
Yeah, she can't necessarily control it. She just, like, reacts.
Yeah.
And that's what it was for the Rand and Egwene sequence here. It was a reaction to the Trolloc jumping up.
Yeah. But now, because we've used the power, Loyal is like, oh no, Machin Shin is coming. And we're like, oh no. And then Moiraine and Lan change plans, because they have to make a break for it for the nearest exit, which is Fal Dara.
Yes.
Which is the city that we're going to end up in.
That's where we go.
So Moiraine warns everybody that Machin Shin will speak to you, but do not listen to what it has to say.
I love the way they've portrayed Machin Shin too. Like, I think they've done a great job of showing the voices and the talking, and I especially love, and we can come back to this a couple of times, but Moiraine never says, don't listen to Machin Shin. It's lying. She says, don't listen to it.
Yeah.
She doesn't say, oh, it's going to tell a bunch of lies. She's just like,
no.
Put it out of your head. Don't listen to it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's really important for what we're going to be coming into next.
Right, and everything that we hear, it's not necessarily
She's never once does she say, oh, it's not true.
Yes, that's fair. Okay, now, I didn't talk about this at the beginning, but I kind of feel like I want to talk about it right now. The set that is the Ways was completely constructed.
Yeah.
And this is also on a bonus scene and bonus behind the scenes stuff on Amazon or on their YouTube page. I'm not sure where. I just feel like I've seen so many things in different places. But I would check it out because it's super interesting the way they built this. They have a bunch of interconnected pieces, almost like a puzzle, that can be rearranged in different shapes and sizes and widths and everything, so that they have this length of path to walk, and then it can be reconfigured into a different length of path.
Yeah, for different shots. And this was like in the height of COVID too, so they really had to play with what they could do and how many people they could have on sets at a time.
Yes.
Like, this is all part of the whole, like, how do we make this work and filming work during COVID? So that's why
this was the first episode they filmed after the lockdowns.
I feel like I'm a lot more understanding for how things go in the last two episodes.
Yeah.
Because we came out of the worldwide pandemic. Like, it makes sense that they had to readjust some things they were planning to do.
Yeah.
And that's going to come through in a couple of, like, the next two episodes.
Well, and it's really interesting, too, because they had these crazy high-powered fans. Yeah. And they had one of those spinny cameras going around each character during this whole thing to make it really seem like wind was whipping everywhere. So I just find it really interesting the way they shot this.
Yeah.
As somebody who has no idea how you actually film TV shows,
and it also was
it's so cool to me to see those behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, and it wasn't overly dark. Like, it was pretty dark, so we got like the pretty spooky vibes.
Yes.
But it wasn't so dark that I couldn't see like nothing.
That is your personal
It's a thing.
least favorite thing that
it.
any show could ever do.
It is. It's literally the worst.
Uh-huh.
But it was dark, but it wasn't so dark that I couldn't see anything. It was dark
Right.
enough.
And it technically should have been so dark you can't see anything.
That's
how it's described in the books.
Like, your torchlight
you're
gets
walking
shut down after 5 or 10 feet. Like, you really can't see shit.
You cannot. It like absorbs light in that place. It's so dark. It's literally called the dark along the ways. But you're right. We could still see. We get it.
They had like the lightning, so you get and the lightning in the background that kind of shines around, so you can see the bottomness.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
So
yeah. No,
it's
you're
good.
Right. They did a good job on this.
Good job. Good job, guys. Anyways, back to it because the Black Wind is approaching.
It's getting closer, and the group makes it to an exit that will take them to Faldara, which I have to assume from the time we entered the ways at the beginning of this episode to the time we make it to here, I want to assume there's like time lapses.
Yeah.
Because for me, this is too fast.
Yeah.
To actually be like, oh no, we need to get to an exit. Can you take us there? And Loyal's like, I guess so. And then all of a sudden we're there, you know?
Well, here's the thing. Faldara wasn't the place they wanted to go.
No, I know that. But I just feel like there wasn't as much, like, and it would be super boring and I'd probably be critiquing them.
For sure, yeah.
And criticizing
how much of the episode do you want to spend in
here?
here?
We get it, right?
Yeah.
So I just want to assume that it took longer, but I'm glad they didn't show it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I'm going to assume it took like a day.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because...
Well, they had to lay down and like rest and go to sleep.
Yeah.
So that's like a day and a half.
Day and a half. I could give it a day and a half.
Or maybe it's like, because it was daytime when they went in there, maybe now it's night, and then now it's like the middle of the night.
24-hour period.
Or maybe, yeah, because they leave and it's daytime. So...
Yeah, that works. 24-hour period.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take it.
Which makes sense, because Loyal was like, hey, you can travel really far over a short amount of time.
Oh, for sure.
And we basically got one from one side of the world to the other almost. Like, well, half the world, basically.
Yeah, Tarvalin to Faldara.
Yeah, a third of the world.
Mm-hmm.
However you want to configure that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's pretty quick.
I'm just looking at the book map over there. Yeah, but we're not on the book map.
But I think it's pretty close. It's pretty similar.
Okay.
So like a third of the world.
Okay.
But that's pretty good for a 24-hour span.
Okay, yeah.
But here's the thing. So, while they're making a break for the Faldara Waygate, because they have to take an exit where they didn't want to,
yes,
this is what I never saw before, or I don't remember seeing the last couple times.
Right, so in the lightning flashes, for one split second, you can see Pat and Fane standing in the ways watching.
Yes, and that's the whistling, and that's the reveal, and we get like another reveal later.
Because we know that Pat and Fane was in Tarvalin.
Yep.
Watching the boys outside their inn.
Yep.
And now we have them being followed in the ways by Pat and Fane.
Yeah, and we heard the whistling in Shadow Logoth too.
That's your tip-off. That's the tip-off.
There we go.
Yeah.
So now, I mean, it's kind of crazy too, but it seems like Pat and Fane was also in the vicinity when the Black Wind comes.
Yes.
So, like, did he get the whole whooshing of all the crazy voices?
But he leaves later.
He does leave later.
So he just hangs out in there for a bit.
How does the Black Wind work? I don't know.
He doesn't want to get caught, so yeah, I don't know all of it, right?
Yep.
All right, so before we get into what everybody experiences separately with this Black Wind, I think this is a good time for us to take a very quick break. I'm going to get a wine top up, and we will be right back.
All right.
Okay, so we're back, and here we go. The Black Wind is going to attack, I guess.
Yeah, well, it catches up with them, it starts whipping around. I think it's a pretty good representation of what it should be or could be.
Yeah.
For a TV medium, like, how else do you show this?
Yeah, like, how else do you show wind?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Other than just like, whoa, my hair's whipping around.
Yeah,
right?
It's like, ooh, very dark. But it's also very dark in this place.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you show darkness in darkness?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think they did a good job.
But yeah, it's definitely the voice thing.
Yeah.
I think they did a pretty good job of it. It's
they do an overlap of all the different character voices too.
Is that what that is?
I'm pretty sure they use
the main voice you can hear is the character who it's attacking.
Yes, yeah.
But then it's also like weirdly distorted.
It seems overlaid with the other characters' voices too, though.
or their own at different frequencies.
And again, I don't know how any of this works. It's not cinematography, though?
Nope.
It would be like audio mixing or something.
Sound mixing.
Sound mixing, yep, there you go.
I'm just thinking of all the like Emmy and Oscar nomination, categories.
Yep.
Because those things, they matter.
What could it possibly win an award for?
Yeah.
Sound,
specifically.
audio.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Okay.
It's not that. Okay.
Anyways, yeah. What do they hear?
Well, Moraine says, "You're wrong about everything. You will murder these children and call it heroism."
Keep in mind, none of this is lies. At least Maureen doesn't say it is.
Yeah.
She's not confident enough to say it's going to lie to you.
It's really your own deepest fears.
Yeah, it's like your self-doubts.
Your own truths that you would never share with people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's kind of
presumably, we don't know where this is coming from.
Yeah. So Egwene's is, "You're nothing, you're an imposter, you're a fraud." And Rand's says Egwene will never love you as much as you love her.
Right, yeah.
And then we skip away, but later we're going to learn that there was more.
There was more, yes, but we can come back to that.
Okay, so Perrin's is, "You wanted Layla dead, you wanted her out of the way, that's why you killed her, because you loved another woman more than your wife."
Yeah.
And it's at this point I'm like, what?
Yeah, you didn't pick up on that, which I think is crazy, because I saw that coming a mile away.
I know, I just never thought about it that way. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
It seemed weird to me. Anyway, so Lan says, "You can't protect her." And it's like, who? Nynaeve or Moraine?
Yeah. Both. Why not both?
Or both.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then Nynaeve's, this is my favorite, because Nynaeve is like, fuck you.
Yeah.
She is so fueled by being told all these things.
It's like the negative reinforcement.
Oh, yeah. She's like, "Oh, you are wrong." She gets her strength from being told she can't do something.
That Blackwood never expected that, yeah.
She's like, "Watch me."
Yeah.
So it says, "You'll hear their screams as they die, and you'll do nothing to save them." And then it goes on and on and on and on until Nynaeve is just gaining strength from being told she can't do something. And she's like, "Oh yeah? Okay, watch this." And so she channels a sort of protective bubble around the group.
Yeah, it's a Gandalf sphere.
Oh, okay. And she gives them time to open the waygate and escape.
Yeah.
And this is the time I'm like, snippity snap, Moraine.
Yeah, let's do this.
Open that waygate a touch faster. Let's go.
She's going as fast as you can. She heard a bunch of stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do appreciate though is, again, it's just looking at the magic system and how it works in this show, is that Nynaeve was able to do something super powerful and heal everybody.
Yeah, she did do that.
But then we also see her being able to do something of equal power, in my mind. Like, she can do other really amazing things. It's not like a one-off, one-time thing.
It's not just healing.
Yeah, it's not just healing, and it's not just for a one-time occurrence. Like, it can be multiple things.
Okay.
Same way I like the fact that Maureen is able to, heat up the bathwater.
Yeah.
It can be used for mundane things, and it can be used for things like this.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so she opens the waygate, and they all escape.
Phew. Yeah.
Phew.
We did it. We're out. They had a little duality thing too, with Nynaeve on one side, Maureen on the other. Hypothetically, if these two could come together to work together and not just butt heads all the time.
Yeah, but there's a jelly factor.
A little bit of jelliness going on.
Well, we learn that.
Yeah.
We learn Nynaeve's feelings about Moraine and Lan.
Yeah.
Later.
We do.
That's this episode, so we gotta get to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's motor.
First off, where are we? We're in Faldara.
Here we are, the fortress city of Faldara, which is in the Borderlands.
Yes. Holding back the blight.
Holding back the blight, which is where all the evil monster Dark One people live.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, everyone looks like they've had a rough time hearing things they didn't want to hear, and Moraine is like, "Don't worry, the Eye of the World is a day's walk beyond the fortress here, and we have friends in the Borderlands, so whatever you heard in the wind, put it out of your minds, let's get a move on."
Yeah, specifically, she doesn't say, "Oh, it was all a bunch of lies."
Just stop thinking about it.
I like to point it out because when Egwene is in the city with Rand, Egwene tells Rand, it was all lies.
Yeah.
But again, we don't know that it's all lies.
No.
And we have to assume it's not.
What Egwene heard from what we saw her hear, which is a weird way to say that.
Yeah.
It's you're a fraud. You're an imposter.
Yeah.
You'll never be good enough, right? And that feels like internal intrusive thoughts and criticism.
Yeah.
And so that's why she's like, it's lies, don't worry.
Yeah.
Because she didn't hear definitive truths like Rand did.
Yeah, which backed
Maybe,
up by
right?
the supporting statements of Tam from earlier.
Yeah.
Which we get to see the flashback of.
Oh, yes, so good.
But I mean, what you heard in the wind isn't necessarily, like, you might not recognize that other people would hear different things too.
Yeah.
Like, that's a really hard way to look at it.
She probably thinks like, oh, you just heard what you think worst about yourself.
Yeah, like we all heard
because
something
for
similar.
her, that's what matters to her so much.
Yeah,
is that she just wants to be the best.
And wants to bounce around to mentors and, like, you know, kind of act as if for a lot of different roles that she sees.
Well, she's trying, yeah.
She is, yeah, yeah.
So we're going to get into the city, and we are greeted by Uno.
Yes, the one-eyed guy.
Yeah, played by Guy Roberts, who is very active on Twitter and very funny. He likes to interact with Wheel of Time fans.
Yeah, and fantastic casting, too. Like, for Uno, it's really great.
Yeah, because Uno's a big swearer.
Yes,
he swears a lot.
Yeah. I like the combo they have for swearing in the show, too. Because it's a little bit of, like, our, type of swearing, and then a little bit of, like, Wheel of Time
fantasy swearing.
Yeah, you gotta have the combo.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure his name was Uno before he lost an eye.
Yes, and we covered that also.
Yeah.
Because
they don't speak Spanish.
They don't speak Spanish in the Wheel of Time. That's right.
But still, it's so good. All right. Now, this whole group is going to bring them to Lord Agelmar.
Yeah, that's
who
right.
Moraine and Lan seem to know pretty well. But he's kind of annoyed that they're here.
There's a little bit of tension between the Borderlanders and the Aes Sedai, clearly.
Well,
and there's some assumptions going on here from Lord Agelmar.
Right. Okay, so he assumes his sister wrote to the White Tower about the increase of Trolloc raids and how the Blight is pushing in.
Yeah.
And so all of that's scary, but we understand now why he says that, because later we learned that this sister has been to the White Tower to train as an Aes Sedai and wasn't strong enough to become a full Aes Sedai and was sent back here.
Yeah, now it is interesting too, because there does seem to be like a pride factor almost of protecting the world from the Blight.
Yes.
And I can understand where there would be a lot of pride, and then having people presumably like go behind your back to call in reinforcements without you knowing.
Right.
I understand where he's coming from.
Yeah, because he's like, we don't need your help. We can do it.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I totally get it. You can do it. No problem. But I also think it would be a good idea for you to block off the waygate we just exited from, because it's clear the Trollocs are using it to travel.
Yeah, which makes sense how they got to the Two Rivers so fast is because there must be waygate systems all over the world that makes you go from one place to another really fast.
That's right.
So we should block those off.
Yeah. Okay, so that's all going to come to an end. Lord Agelmar says...
Nope.
Agelmar?
Yep.
Damn it, every time.
Yep.
I can't do it. It doesn't matter. It's the same name to me. I don't understand. I don't hear the difference. Lord Agelmar says, yes, for sure, let's do that. And sorry about that. You guys have a place to stay.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
We're all cool here.
Yeah. Now, in the next scene, we have Padan Fain exiting the waygate with quite the saunter.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't even fazed by anything he saw in there.
Wasn't even worried about it. And this is like the first, if you missed every single shot of him.
Sure, this is a bad guy.
Yeah.
This is a bad guy.
He's a bad guy. Like, he's got to be. That's the only explanation that makes any sense at all.
Right. Now, I wonder about the decision to delete the little scene where we see him holding a trefoil leaf stone carving.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I've seen that somewhere.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure it's a deleted scene where he walks out and he has this little stone carving of a leaf in his hand, and it's clearly some kind of key he's used to open the waygate.
Yeah, because Padan Fain isn't a channeler, so he couldn't open it the same way Moraine could. So, yeah, but it makes sense that there could be an alternative way to get in and out of these, especially if the Trollocs are using them. Like, we don't really know how that works.
And in the books, we use a stone leaf as a key to open these up.
Exactly.
And so I thought it was a really neat tidbit that we have Padan Fain having this stone leaf key, like quotes key, that he has in his hand, and he kind of like bounces it, and then he walks on.
Yeah.
But in the scene that we just watched, it's not there. He just walks out. And he leaves.
Yeah, so I guess we'll get to see how they portray the ways in future episodes.
Yeah, like how, right?
Yeah. What are we doing? If we're going to put something back in or whatever it might be.
Okay.
It works, so.
Okay, so Moraine is brought to her rooms by Agelmar's sister.
Yes.
And this is where we learn about her time in the tower, and we see her ginormous ring. I think this is the biggest Aes Sedai ring we've seen yet.
Well, they need a close-up shot of this.
Oh my god, it was so huge.
Maybe her hands are tiny.
It was so stupid. Who wears a ring this big? This is so dumb. I hate this ring. Flashback to episode 1 where I'm like, what is this thing?
You need to be able to see it on screen.
Yeah,
like, what are we talking about?
What you really need to be able to see is that there's no gem in it.
Exactly.
Which is a made-up thing for this show. This type of ring where there's a stone for whatever Aja you are.
Sure.
That's a made-up thing for this show. And
Yeah.
it's not in the books at all.
It's not that far off of, like, what they do, though.
No, but it's interesting. It's like, okay, you went to the White Tower, you sort of can channel a little bit, but you're not strong enough to be an Aes Sedai, so here's a ring without a Jubal in it.
Yeah. It kind of tracks that an Aes Sedai, like an actual Aes Sedai, a full one, would want to make sure people who didn't actually make it through all the...
It so tracks.
Like, they would want you to remember always that you're not good enough to be an actual Aes Sedai, because they're super
and then even
condescending.
with Moraine being like, oh, I know that you spent many years training with my sisters. Like, it sounds condescending.
It is. That's because it is.
Yeah.
And I think it was meant to be that way.
Yeah, I know. Anyways, I hate it. Like, if anyone's doesn't know where I stand, if anyone's confused about where I am on this ring,
Yeah.
not good.
Cool. All right.
I hate it, actually.
Sure.
Get it out of a gumball machine.
It's so aggressive.
I hate it so much.
Holy
Okay.
moly. Okay.
This is probably the thing I hate the most in the whole show.
More than the wig or the nails?
More than the wig, more than the nails.
Holy
and let
moly.
me tell you about the new terrible wig in one of the posters for season 2.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Didn't see that. Okay.
I know.
Didn't
And guess
catch
who
it.
pointed it out to me again?
All right.
It was Spencer, our friend Spencer. A good friend of the podcast. Pointed it out again. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, that's a bad wig. Okay.
All right. Anyways, this is the part where Moraine asks her to deliver a message to the tower. They got to find Matt Cawthon, and the message has to be sent to the Red Aja.
And I went, what?
Okay, all right.
Because so she's still sort of convinced that he can channel? Why would the Red Aja care if he can't channel?
I don't necessarily think that she thinks Matt can channel. I think it's the fact that the Red Aja deals with men who have issues that maybe are in the realm of evil channeling. And we see that Matt has some issues. There's like some hang-ups about the dagger and the Shadow Logos stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So who else would be better to...
No, you're right. And I think
like,
that
it makes sense.
I think that this is a really good little insert plot.
Yeah.
In a way to maybe have Matt be interacting with the Aes Sedai again.
Yep.
Maybe, yeah. And
Get
my
yeah.
prediction is he's going to be captured in some way, and the next time we see him, he might be at the White Tower.
For sure. Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. Like, we gotta get, with everything that happened with the actor himself.
Yes.
And his exit from the TV show, I
We
think
know-
they do a really good job.
We know,
of
he's camping.
Bringing it back on
in
track.
Saskatchewan.
He wanted to go to rural Saskatchewan
Yeah.
to camp, and they're like,
it was
okay,
a great campsite. We had a great time.
this is the rewrite for the TV show, and it's not. It works. Like I can see where it's gonna all line up, and it'll be okay.
Yeah, I know. You're so positive.
That's because it really is the best way to do things.
Yeah, I know. We appreciate your positivity.
Yeah.
We do. But now it's time to go for a walk in Faldara.
Well, we're heading towards the inn, like the bar.
Oh, we're going to the bar.
We're going to the bar.
Right. Okay.
Maureen
we
is
do
leading
end up at a
everybody
bar.
to the bar.
Okay, we're all going to the bar. I was
That's
like,
why
we're
we're
just
walking.
going for a walk.
Yeah.
Okay, no, we're walking through the city. And then Perrin does this head turn. I think I just saw Padden Fane, the peddler.
What?
And Nynaeve is like, that's impossible. He's dead.
Yeah.
And that's funny. Because Nynaeve's like, he's for sure dead. He died on Beltane during the Trolloc attack. And when this happens in the book, my first prediction was, Padden Fane is dead under his wagon.
Right. You did think that.
I thought that because it's like an overturned wagon and people are like, where did that guy go? Or
yeah,
something.
they're like, he's gone.
Yeah. And I was like, he's dead under there.
For sure.
For sure not.
Yeah, for sure
Because
not.
he turns out to be a relatively important bad guy who's going to come back here.
Clearly.
Yeah, and follow them all the way here.
Yeah.
So that's like really funny that Nynaeve's like, nah, he's dead. I was like, nah, that's what I thought.
It's good to know that, like, after Nynaeve got captured and then escaped after the whole Trolloc thing, she must have went back to the town, figured out what was going on. They were doing body counts. No one could find Padden Fane.
Yeah.
Who was, like, the only peddler who had come into town for this festival. So...
Well, it's also possible he packed up. and like rode out.
Oh, I think that's
during
less
the
likely.
chaos. You think he just left his peddler wagon there?
Yeah.
Oh.
Considering he doesn't have his peddler wagon here.
I guess. No, you're right. No, that's probably true.
I think he left it.
Okay. That's probably true.
You put it in storage. Short-term storage.
No. I think you're right. Okay. But now, Moraine brings the crew to an inn here, and it is where Min works.
Yes.
And we love Min.
Min is a new character for us here.
And I just love this actress, Kay Alexander. So good.
Great job, yeah.
Such a great job in this role. I really love it. I just cannot applaud the casting more. I just love it.
Just like the general attitude
I
that
know.
she gives the entire
Oh my gosh,
episode.
it's seriously my favorite.
Yeah.
Seriously. It's exactly spot on Min, right?
I think so. I think
It's
it's pretty
so
great.
good.
Yeah.
Okay, so Min's power is a secret, but Moraine knows about it.
Yes. Presumably the Aes Sedai do.
More other Aes Sedai do.
Yeah, we don't really know the extent of who knows what, but Moraine is clearly holding that over her head.
Yeah.
Like, hey, do your little thing for me, or it'd be
psychic.
bad. It'd be bad if everybody found out about your superpower, because then everyone's gonna bother you forever.
Yeah, and then I'd be like, you know how much psychics make?
Yeah,
They make so much money.
Tons of money.
Just start charging.
Holy moly.
Make it your new job. You don't have to bartend here.
Easy peasy. Yeah. But there is the hint of like, oh, you also might get murdered because people don't like that.
People don't like hearing their futures.
Right.
Right. Shoot. Okay, so Moraine asks her to read the auras of these 4 that are here, and she's like, fine. And there's this, snarky back and forth, but in the end, we learn that Perrin has yellow eyes and blood running down his chin.
Much like a wolf, presumably.
Perhaps.
Okay.
Rand is rocking a baby, but we don't know whose it is.
I love Min's, like, it looks like a baby. I don't know whose baby it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, there's a theory that Rand is rocking the baby that Min saw as a kid. You know how, like, later we see that
that's wrong.
sees
The
the
hair
kid?
color's wrong.
Yeah, it's
This
black.
baby in the vision, in the aura, has black hair.
I know.
And the little baby Rand we see later is clearly red hair. It's not... Rand is not holding himself as a baby. That's
because
not happening.
I just think that her reaction is like, I don't know, it's just a baby.
Yeah.
But it's almost like, do you know that baby, Min?
She doesn't know that baby. I think that's like a nonchalance to like, I don't fucking care about babies.
I don't know. I think it was supposed to be like that, but then there was something behind there that I was like, maybe.
I'm going to push back hard against that, but that's okay. Okay.
And now, initially, I thought that Nynaeve and Egwene don't get a reading because we don't see it.
Well, we don't see it, and it's a combination.
Because with Perrin, we see the visual.
Yeah.
And with Rand, we see the visual of him standing up holding a baby. But then she says out loud, there's a white flame and a ring of gold around both of the girls.
Because Moraine asks about them in combination. She says, what about the girls? And she answers for both, and we don't know whose is whose.
Right.
Like, we don't know which one.
Right. And we know that there's a white flame of Tarvalin, and we know that there's a ring of gold that Aes Sedai wear. So, like, I feel like that's my prediction with that.
Sure. Like, but what's the ring of gold?
The ring that Aes Sedai wear.
Is it gold? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. You're right. It looks gaudy and crappy and not real gold.
What kind of
but
gold
it's
is it?
supposed to be gold.
Okay.
That's what I would assume.
Yeah.
So she also says that they're all linked, and it's super unusual because they're all clearly really important to the pattern.
Yep, which makes sense. I mean, it's a TV show about them, right?
Yeah,
so.
And then this, true to the books, there's spots of lights flying around the shadow, and the shadow's trying to fill the sparks. It's a whole thing.
Yep, but nobody's particularly the stronger.
Right.
Because Maureen's whole thing is like, oh, can I tell which one is the Dragon Reborn?
Yeah, but she doesn't specifically say that. If she did, I wonder if Min would have answered.
I don't think so.
Because Min knows.
Min knows. Min knows. That's the thing. Min knows. I don't think Min would say, though, because I think that Min is a little bit sick of Maureen's bullshit. Like, I don't think that Min...
So she's doing some Aes Sedai truth-telling herself?
There's enough at it, and it's clear that Moraine and Lan have been here, and it's clear that this isn't Maureen's first run-in with Min.
Yeah, because Min's like, what do you want? Yeah.
She's like, oh, I have to see you again.
Yeah.
So I think that Min is holding stuff back, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then Moraine is like, oh, you see my future? What do you see for me? Can you read me?
Right. Well, it's like almost there was a look like she saw something.
Yeah. And then Min has to tell, kind of. So she says, for Moraine, she sees the Amerlin seat in full regalia, and that the Amerlin seat will be Moraine's downfall.
Yeah.
And now
okay.
my biggest thing is, currently, Swan is the Amerlin seat.
Yeah.
But in like 50 years from now,
Yeah, what's
there
the
could be a different Amerlin seat.
There's no timelines on any of these predictions.
Moraine's downfall. Like, it's really hard to say.
Yeah.
And pick out because, it's pretty obvious. This is like what I do when I read the books. I'm like, what is not being said right now?
Mm-hmm.
And what's being said kind of cryptically?
Yeah.
And the whole, like, the Amerlin seat is such a title name that it doesn't actually apply to one specific person.
Well, it's literally for the whole Oathrod thing we saw, where Swan told Moraine to swear to the Amerlin seat, and then Moraine specifically
swore to Swan.
Swore to Swan, not the Amerlin seat. So it's clear there's a distinction. But again, we are correct here where the auras that Min is reading are not time-bound, where she says, in 3 months and 6 days, your downfall will be the Amerlin seat or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it could literally be at any point.
And she doesn't say, like, Swan Sanche will be your downfall.
Or soon, or later, or I see you as an old woman, or something.
Yeah, no, exactly. So that's kind of cryptic. And so I take that with a grain of salt, because I feel like that's what they want us to believe.
For sure. Yeah, I agree.
Right?
Yep.
And if I know anything about the Wheel of Time, it's they want you to believe one thing when it's definitely another thing.
Yeah, unreliable narrator.
Always.
That's a big thing. Nobody is ever right.
Moraine, in her face, she's like, oh shit. Like, she certainly thinks that it's Swan.
Oh yeah, for sure. Which, again, it makes a lot of sense, because Moraine's biggest fear, from what we've seen with her relationship, is literally her relationship with Swan. Mm-hmm. That is a huge matter of being worried about.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
All right. So now it is nighttime in Faldara, and they're all back in their quarters at the palace fortress
whatever
place.
Shared room it is. Yeah.
And now we get that the plan is to leave at sunrise, but then they want to know about the bartender woman.
Yeah, like, you clearly brought us to this bar to see this person specifically. So what's up with that? Yeah.
And so Nynaeve gets snippy, and Moraine gives it right back. It's a whole back and forth. And so finally, Moraine does tell them that Min sees glimpses of the pattern. She can see their future. And she hoped that Min would tell her who the dragon was, but she couldn't. And then she drops the news that whoever goes to the Eye of the World who's not the dragon will probably die.
Yeah.
Actually, she doesn't say probably. She says will. They will die.
And this is the whole...
what she believes to be true.
This is the unreliable narrator thing, and Perrin actually brings it up in an argument. He's like, hey, what happens if you're wrong?
Yeah.
What happens if we don't die? What happens if you're just, like, making this stuff up? Like, yes, he has a very legitimate point, and Moraine is very confident in her knowledge, but why?
Yeah.
Like, why are you so confident? And again, it's like an Aes Sedai thing where it's like you assume you know everything.
Yeah.
Which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So Nynaeve tells her that they'll make their own choices, and Moraine is like, well, you can't run and hide, but make your decisions, and we're leaving tomorrow, so bye.
Yeah, and she walks off, so good for her.
Yeah. So then they all sort of argue about what they should do and what they shouldn't do, and their feelings about everything, and then this is where it finally comes out that Perrin has some kind of feelings towards Egwene. Perrin and Rand have this, like, standoff growling match.
Exactly, yeah.
And Egwene's like, stop it!
Egwene doesn't say anything.
No, I know. She stands there, like, worried looking. And Nynaeve is clearly aware of, like, all of this, because she's the one who actually says the thing she shouldn't say.
She knows it. She knows what's up. She's pretty clear for everybody, so...
Yeah, they have a whole standoff, and Rand leaves in a huff.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my god, and this is where I was like, ugh, this is so unnecessary.
But like, it's also, like,
so dumb.
These are teenagers, like, they're teenagers, like, I get it, yep.
Aren't they supposed to be, like, 20?
Yeah, well...
But from, like, a small conservative village, I guess.
Basically, yeah.
Okay. Alright, so we're gonna jump to Moraine and Lan having a discussion about what the whole group will do.
Lan's confident. He's like, yeah, they're gonna... You gave them a semblance of a choice, and they will decide to come.
Right.
He's pretty confident.
Yeah. And then, it's pretty cute because Moraine is like, I do like Nynaeve.
Yes. They have, like, a pretty big heart-to-heart about their relationship, and I do appreciate this because we get to see that, the platonic side, but also the mutual respect, and the care and affection they have for each other.
Yeah.
Like, it does add a lot to their relationship.
Well, and Lan can tell that Moraine is bothered by something mentally, and it's probably the news about the Amyrlin being her downfall.
Probably.
And then Moraine kind of dismisses him by saying, like, don't you have some goodbyes in the city? Don't you have some people here you know?
You know people here.
Yeah. And Lan's like, fine.
Yeah.
So, he's gonna head off through the city, and Nynaeve follows him, but not very stealthily. She thinks she's stealthy, but he knows, and he gives a little smirk. Like,
he does. There's a couple of times.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's going to visit some family/friends. Like, we're not quite sure who these people are to Lan yet.
Yeah.
But he's going to go in for dinner, and Nynaeve peeks in through the window, and now this dinner looks great.
It does. Oh my goodness.
It looks delicious.
I don't know, it's like we ate while we were watching.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know if I was hungry still as I was eating and watching it.
Yeah.
Because you know when you're hungry and you watch people eating
Maybe.
something that looks good?
No, sometimes shows, though, do such a good job. And I was like, how do we get one of those pots of soup over a flame for your table?
Exactly. Like,
I
can't...
want that. It's so impractical. Like, there's no way I actually want that. But like
how often are we eating in this style? But yeah.
Nah, it looks good.
Great. Looks great. Fantastic.
Yeah, it might have to be a dish, almost like a rice noodle, like pho soup.
Yes. Yeah.
That we have
we're Canadian.
When we're watching. Don't know how to say it. That's fine. But when we watch the shows, we're going to have new food for season 2.
We're gonna do it.
Yeah. So maybe that's one of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, this interaction with the whole family.
Oh, right. Okay, bring
it's
us
really,
back to the show.
I actually really appreciate it too, because again, it's adding a lot of depth and character to Lan as a person, where he's not just like this stone cold guy.
Yeah.
He has relationships with people, and that actually is very true, where there are people from his past.
These relationships matter to him. So.
Yeah, and they do. And there are instances in the books where like this comes up.
Yeah.
So
you're right.
Yeah. And it's from his past, and it's clearly, we get a whole explanation of who this guy is. And
we get that later.
Yeah, we do get that later. But I love that they are so accepting of the person who Lan brings in. So after Lan goes out and brings Nynaeve in, it's like, oh, this is Nynaeve. And then the little comments in the background where the guy's like, she's so beautiful. And Lan says, I didn't notice.
I know. And I was like, well, that's not the most important thing about her.
Yeah.
She's also strong and really smart.
But it's like, clearly this is the first...
That's why Lan likes her. It's not because she's so beautiful.
But it's also like, clearly this guy knows Lan, and they know Lan, and they've known him forever.
Yeah.
And I would have to imagine this is the only person Lan's ever brought to the house
because the woman
for dinner.
assumes she's Aes Sedai.
Yeah.
Like, he must have met her at the tower, and she's like, nope, not me. Right?
Yeah.
But then the guy calls him Daishan. Thanks for taking care of my Daishan.
Daishan. So the subtitles get it wrong.
It's Daishin.
No, Daishan. Daishan. The
how
subtitles.
Does he say it? Is that how he says
Daishan? But the subtitles get it wrong. They do
in the spelling.
Yeah, in the spelling. Yeah. So it's Daishan.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyways, after the whole dinner, they're gonna walk to Lan's door and then say goodnight.
Which is also really funny. Like, this entire sequence is hilarious.
Well, yeah, and it is incredibly respectful,
but also,
while at the same time being so frustrating.
But also, like, almost backwards, because in, like, most worlds, the guy walks the woman to her door.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have it where she walks him to
backwards.
his door, and then he goes in, and then she leaves to her door.
Yeah.
Like, no, usually you would escort her. That's just how it works most of the time.
That's true. Mm-hmm.
But I like the fact that it's like
but the worst part is that they're both just standing there.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
Horribly awkward.
They're just like waiting for someone to make a move.
Yeah.
No one makes a move. And then he says, Kate, good night. And he leaves.
There
and
we
goes
go.
Inside.
Goes inside.
And it's like, that's it? Wrong. No.
Not it.
It's not it. Nynaeve is going to come back in.
Well, you wait the appropriate amount of time for him to be able to take off his shirt.
Right.
You get to see the Alan Mandragoran body.
Uh-huh. Do we get that that's his name yet?
Yeah.
I don't think so. We just know him as Lan, I think.
He introduced himself as Lan Mandragoran in the first
does.
episode.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Okay.
He gives, this is Moraine. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember. Okay. Right. But, yeah, so Nynaeve is going to come back and then be like, do you want me to leave? The answer is no.
No, not at all.
Nope. And then they kiss.
Stay the night.
Yeah. Now, we're going to get a scene where Rand is trying to clear his mind by firing some arrows. And you know what is so funny to me? He's firing these arrows and is clearly so frustrated by his own shot because he's not hitting the bullseye, but he's...
Well, that's because his mind is not clear.
No, but what's hilarious to me is he's still hitting the inner circle of the target.
Yeah, but that's not good enough.
No, I know.
He's got to hit the bullseye.
If I hit the inner circle of the target, if I'm firing a random bow and arrow, I'd be like, oh shit, I'm so good at this.
This is like the fight sequence at the beginning where like, I couldn't do that when I'm pregnant, and I'm like, you couldn't do that when you're not pregnant. Rand is supposed to be a guy who... Presumably, like when you're in a little forest town village, you probably hunt for food sometimes.
I know.
You should be able to hit the mark.
I know. Anyways, it's like 4 shots, and like both of them, or like all 4 of them are so close to the inner circle
like, that's really
that they're
good,
not quite. And he's like, oh, god darn it.
Yeah, yeesh.
So bad at this.
That's
and I was like, those
his,
are pretty good.
His head is in a daze.
But later, when he's like decided and he's like spot on, they're all hitting bullseye. So like, okay, fine.
I get it.
I just thought that part was so funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, but Egwene is going to come up and she's like, I waited an hour for you to come and apologize.
Egwene's character, she does such a good job of portraying like annoyed Egwene at Rand specifically. Yeah. It's so good.
And he's like, I've learned from experience that when you're ready to talk, you'll come find me.
Yes.
And she's like, harumph.
But she gives him the look after he says that, and then he's like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's like perfect portrayal.
Yeah. And so they have some heart-to-heart. Rand gives her a pep talk about going to the White Tower, about how he's going to follow her there, and he'll be her warder because he wouldn't want anyone else to. And
it's pretty cute.
It's kind of like this interesting rekindling of their relationship because they were breaking up because she was going to be the wisdom who doesn't take a husband and shouldn't be in a relationship. But now her plans have changed. She should go to the White Tower and become an Aes Sedai. She clearly can channel and has the spark, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And she can have a warder who she's romantic with.
Yeah. Well, you could also make the argument that he's saying these things now because maybe now he's deciding what he needs to do, which is leave. And so he's giving kind of like a final goodbye of saying, oh, almost like, I would love to go with you to be your warder, and saying goodbye in a sense.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Because, they're gonna go to bed together.
Having a one last hookup.
Yeah.
Well, Rand is leaving, right? Like, that's in his mind already. Like, clearly, it's gotta be...
I didn't think it was now.
In my mind, it's like, the frustration is from deciding what do I do. And then maybe
of
like
the Mashinchin flashback about... Yeah.
Like, from leaving the Waygate, like, from that point is when Rand, in his mind, he gets all the knowledge, like, he's the guy. Yeah. And everything that happens after that is him battling back and forth, like, what do I do? Yeah. Even when Moiraine says, oh, anyone who's not the Dragon Reborn is gonna die. Yeah. And so he's battling back and forth, like, what do I do? What do I do? Mm-hmm. And then he has this, like, one last time with Egwene.
And then he does have some clarity, yeah.
He has clarity, and then he goes to find Moiraine immediately afterwards. Right. So...
Okay, but before all of that happens, we're going to learn a little bit more about Lan and his family and the whole background of where he came from, because Nynaeve and Lan have clearly hooked up, and she's getting dressed to leave. It's like the morning time, and she asks Lan why people keep calling him Daishan.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's the talk. They have to have the conversation that nobody wants to have.
About how he's a future king of a place that doesn't exist?
I hate when people call me Daishan because it turns out that I'm actually...
not a king. That's what it means.
I'm the uncrowned... I'm the would-be king of the land of Malkier.
Which is gone now. Because the Blight took it over. Yeah. The blighted land.
It's a pretty big story about, like, oh, he was smuggled out as a baby from the palace.
His whole family was slaughtered.
Yeah, so... And that's where the heart-to-heart comes in with Nynaeve saying, oh, I understand why you are with Moiraine now, is because you're a king without a kingdom, a boy without a family, and now you belong to her.
You belong to Moiraine, you have somebody who means something to you, and... I'm never going to be enough.
I can't. Something. I'm not going to... Well, I won't be the woman that you basically chose. Yeah. And Lan says, like, she doesn't own me. Yeah. Like, maybe we can work through this at some level. Yeah. But, there's a lot of history with Lan and Moiraine. Like, there is a lot that they would have to, like, to work through here. So.
Yeah. Well, we didn't talk about it, but before he leaves to go see his family, she says, the smell here makes me think of the first time we met. Mm-hmm. So there's that little nostalgia, that little tidbit of, like, they clearly met here.
Yeah, or at least in the vicinity area.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to get to the good part, which is... I really love the part where Nynaeve channels like crazy to save everybody again. That's an excellent, excellent part.
Sure.
But this Rand Dragon Reborn reveal
so good.
Like gives me chills. It is so good.
Oh yeah, got the goosebumps.
If you weren't paying attention and all of a sudden you're like, "Oh my god, it all makes sense now."
Yeah.
It's the exact same feeling you get when you're reading a Wheel of Time book.
I mean, and kinda, but it's kind of funny. But like in the book series, I've never really felt like it was a mystery who the Dragon Reborn is.
Oh, no. I agree with you. That Rand is the Dragon Reborn is not a mystery from the beginning. The whole first book is written from Rand's perspective.
Like 90% of the book is
100.
Rand.
Yeah,
Rand's the main character.
Yeah, for sure he is. Absolutely. And I love and appreciate how the show changed that a little bit for a little more intrigue for show watchers and not book readers.
They didn't drag it out for seasons.
No, they did not. It's really great.
Yeah, they brought it out for a couple episodes, and from the like you could tell if you knew what to look for, you might be able to pick up on it earlier than this episode.
Right. But what I was referring to is when you're reading the book and there's any kind of mystery about anything.
Yeah.
You're reading it, and then there's a reveal, and then you go, oh, all those things I just read now make sense because of this reveal.
Yeah.
And so that's what it feels like to read the books, like not just specifically about the Dragon Reborn reveal.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So Egwene and Rand are sleeping. Well, I guess Egwene's sleeping, Rand isn't. He sits up. And then we have all these flashbacks.
Yes, and it's really funny because we get the flashback of the night of the Beltane attack.
That's right.
On the Two Rivers. And we got to see this flashback at the beginning of the book.
Yes.
Like, we get to see this at the beginning. We get to see this story.
We see the fever dreams, the fever talking.
Yeah, because Tam's like bringing him to the village.
Yeah, and this was a criticism of the first episode. Where are the fever dreams?
Yeah, a lot of people were so angry.
He needs to be questioning his own parentage, and he needs to be questioning, like, what's his dad talking about? And it's supposed to be this back and forth, this whole thing in his brain the entire way we're going.
Yeah.
And so people were like, oh my god, we didn't see Rand bringing his dad to the farm, which was a huge thing in the book.
Yeah.
And now we get it.
We
as
do.
a flashback.
I love the fact we get it here.
And so it's been tormenting Rand this entire time, and we get it in this, like, 5-second snippet.
It's a good story, and the story that the feverish story that Tam tells as he's being brought by Rand, it's pretty identical to the books. Like, it's very on track.
Yeah. So Rand is bringing Tam to the village, and Tam starts talking about Kari.
That's his wife.
That's his wife.
Who Rand thinks is his mom.
That's right. Who we know is dead, because we talked about that in the first book.
Yes. Yeah.
And Tam is saying, it was so hot, I didn't mean to find her there, I just needed to go up to the mountain to the snow because it was too hot.
Yeah, and the her he's talking about here is clearly the Aiel woman.
The Aiel woman. And then he was crying, he was so tiny.
And that's Rand the baby!
That's the baby. That's the baby. Okay, so then we see more flashbacks of Rand. And we learned that it's him who has been doing the channeling the whole time.
Yeah, so he was the one who, broke down the
that
door. Yeah.
At the inn, that we're like, there's no way he should be able to break that down. And we had a whole discussion about locking it from the inside.
Exactly.
Question mark? But anyways, he breaks it down. It's the power. And we see the weaves, but we see them white, then turn to black.
We do. Whoa.
Just like Logain.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
We see him recognize Dragonmount.
Yeah.
Like I've seen it before, because that's where this baby was born.
Gonna make sense.
On the Dragonmount.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the one who blasted the Trolloc off the bridge in the ways, and we know that because of the blackness in the weaves again.
Yeah. Yeah. And the biggest thing is, the black wind, it never lies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay, no. Now you're just, way stretching. But it says, you've always known it was you. You can't escape your fate. You are the Dragon Reborn.
Ooh, so good. I love it.
So then Rand is going to head to the bar.
Yep.
To talk to Min. And he says, tell me I'm not the Dragon Reborn.
Again, I love the Min attitude.
And
where
Min's
she's like,
do you really want to hear that?
No. She's like, yep, you're not the Dragon Reborn. The first thing she says, no hesitation. Sure, I'll tell you whatever you want. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah. But then Rand is like, you gotta tell me, because she says there's no going back once you hear what I have to say. And he's like, I need to hear it.
Yeah, so Min jumps into the first vision she ever had. She was a kid in Tarvalin, and she turned a corner, and she saw a man in armor carrying your Heron Mark blade.
Rand's Heron Mark blade, yeah.
Yeah, so we get a flashback to the Isle on the Mountain, back to the first sequence that we saw with this episode.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah, so it picks up where we left off with the soldier holding the sword to her throat. And then it turns out it's a young Tamal Thor.
Yep. And he puts the sword down. He's clearly super kind-hearted.
Yeah, he takes his helmet off.
Yep.
And he helps her deliver the baby.
He takes her hand.
Yeah, it's very sweet. Holy moly. And it makes a lot of sense, though. It's Carrie and Tam couldn't have kids, didn't have kids, but then they were in this situation, and Tam found Rand.
Yeah.
Found this woman
because
giving
birth.
She dies.
Immediately. She's just dead.
Makes sense. She was bleeding out from a stab wound.
Yep.
And that'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
So the trauma of giving birth, and then she dies, and then Tam has that moment of realization, I have a baby now.
Yes. Yep.
There's no one else, this baby's yours now.
Yeah, because he helped deliver a baby who was born on the slopes of Dragonmount.
Yeah.
And Min sees that Tam raised Rand in a sleepy village surrounded by the two rivers, and that baby was the dragon reborn. And then Rand's gonna be like, okay, that's a lot of information. What do you see now?
Right. This is the tell me my future
yeah,
situation.
And this is where she's super cheeky. Rainbows, carnivals, and 3 beautiful women.
And we're not going to talk about the Eye of the World because she doesn't say whether he's going to make it back.
Yep.
And I guess that is plausible. We don't know.
Yeah.
But again, this is one of those unreliable narrator situations where it's what does Min actually see?
What does she actually know?
Yeah, what does she know? She doesn't say anything do I make it back? Maybe he just doesn't come back to Fal Dara.
Yeah.
Right? what does she actually think she sees?
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so the next couple scenes are going to be kind of a jump back and forth.
They're pretty sneaky with it. They
okay.
play with it.
So it's daytime in Fal Dara. Egwene knocks on Nynaeve's door, and she's not here. It's clear her bed wasn't used last night.
Yeah, I love that Egwene realizes
she
that.
knows
She's
what's up.
Yeah, for sure.
So Nynaeve shows up and apologizes for stirring things up with the whole Perrin thing, but then Perrin shows up and is like, hey, what have we decided? And then everybody's like, where's Rand?
Oh, no.
So then we're going to get a scene that jumps back to nighttime after Rand has realized he's the Dragon Reborn and hitting all his bullseyes.
Yeah. He's made a decision in his mind.
He's made his decision.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
He's got clarity now.
Yeah. So he knocks on a door, and then Nynaeve opens the door, and it's morning, and it's Lan, and Lan is like, oh no, Moraine masked our bond. I don't know where she is. I can't feel her.
Yep.
And then it jumps back to Rand at Moraine's door.
And it's nighttime.
And he's like, it's me. And then Moraine and Rand set off for the Eye of the World alone.
Nice. I love it. It's a pretty great sequence, too. I think they did it back and forth pretty well.
Okay, but we do have to talk about the Blight.
Sure,
and what the Blight looks like.
Because, again, COVID.
It's a COVID thing. It's another COVID change.
Yes.
So, originally, the showrunner and the entire Wheel of Time team had a plan for the Blight to be filmed, I believe, in the Canary Islands.
Yeah.
They had a location picked out, and it was going to be an actual place that they could be in.
Yeah, yeah.
But because of the travel restrictions, they had to build the Blight on a set, and use that.
Yeah.
So it doesn't look like they originally envisioned, and they did their best with it.
Yeah. And again, that's why I'm more forgiving. But also, it doesn't look terrible. It looks creepy. It looks dead and haunted and evil.
Yeah. And it looks like it definitely could just keep growing a bunch of these dead, gross trees.
Yeah. It looks like it could go forever. It's not somewhere where you want to be. I think they do a good job of making it don't go in here. This is evil.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't go into the murder forest.
Oh, don't.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But then Moraine and Rand are let's.
Do.
Yeah.
do it.
Do that.
Yes. Okay. So that's all I have for this episode.
Yeah, it's a big one. It's a whole episode of reveals of everything.
I love it.
Right in time for the season finale.
This was good.
I like it. This is a great episode.
Yeah, so we have one more to cover.
Yeah, and this is the only episode that is titled something that is not a chapter title, because the next episode is called The Eye of the World, and that's the title of the first book.
Right. That's the whole thing about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm excited to watch the last episode, and then we are going to be able to watch season 2 when it comes out so soon.
Yeah. We are like 10 days away.
From this recording, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When this comes out, it'll be a lot closer to it, but...
Right, right.
Yes. Yes, exciting.
So here we go.
Okay, and as we say around here, it's part of the pattern now.
Yeah, it's part of the pattern.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode. The Wheel Weaves is hosted and edited by Dani and Brett, produced by Dani and Brett, with Passion Socks, Cody Feltz, Benjamin, Michelle O'Brien, Jamie Young, Megan Smiley, Jared Berg, Ricky Morissette, Lance Barden, Charlie Haz, Adam, Marta Thier, Michelle Forbes, MKM, Antoine Benoit, Lawrence Bradley, and Eric Reed. With music by Audionautics. Please be sure to check out our Patreon page if you are interested in supporting us and the podcast. We would love to send you some Patreon exclusive merchandise as a thank you. Plus, you'll gain access to our episodes earlier than everyone else. And at the time of recording, we have over 40 bonus episodes for your listening pleasure. You can find all that and more at patreon.com/thewheelweavespodcast. For general information about our show and information like how to send us shot glasses or how to join our Discord or how to get in touch with us, you can visit thewheelweavespodcast.com. And as always, please be sure to give us that 5-star review because it really does make a huge difference in helping other people find us. Right now, we are offering to send exclusive merchandise to select people who give us 5-star reviews if you leave your username for Instagram or Twitter, and I'll reach out to you that way. Also, please be sure to tell a friend, Riyadh, because referrals really are the best compliment. Thanks again for listening. This really is part of the pattern now.